Alrighty, so I'm just going to show you guys how to get rid of your green screen and replace it with your background footage or background picture. So the first thing you want to do, of course, is open Premiere Pro, and then you are going to import your footage down into your project panel. You can either go to File, press Import, or you can double click in your project panel where there's an empty space. Once all of your footage has been imported to Premiere, you're going to start with your backgrounds. You want to make sure that you put all your backgrounds in order first on the timeline before you add any of your green screen footage on top. In order to have a good background, you want to make sure that your video or your picture is still. So if I look at this one has a little bit of movement going on. It goes up and down and it moves just a bit. We don't really want that. That's not going to work for us because if there's any movement, our green screen is going to look a little off. Let's just say we have this video footage and that's the only video footage we have of this, and that's as still as it possibly can be. You can go ahead and pull a picture from this by pressing this picture button down here, and it'll basically just take a screenshot of what your video footage is. It'll pull up this export frame option. You're going to give it a name, so this is park background, and you want to save it as a PNG. And you want to make sure that this box, this import into project, is checked. Once you have all that, that's fine. As far as the path goes, you can leave it to whichever option it gives you into your computer and then just say OK. What it'll do, it'll automatically import your picture into your project panel, and that is what you can use then to put into your timeline. So the one good perk about doing this instead of using just your video is not only will it stay still, but you can also change how long the video clip is or how short the clip is based on however long your green screen footage is. Okay, for today I'm just going to stick with this one background. What you guys are going to do is you're going to put all of them in order and then go back and put all your green screen stuff over top of them. But for me, I'm just going to say this is my only background and we're going to go from there. Let me go ahead and pull my green screen from this. So this is the footage I'm going to use for my green screen. And right here we can just see it just has two hands walking in, bumping each other, and then falling down. And I believe we didn't go with this one because their hands come out of the frame. So we went with this one because their hands stay in the frame. Okay. You can mark in, mark out on where it's going to start, just like a regular video. This video, I only want the video part. I don't want the audio, so I'm just going to drag the video on top. And as you can see, the green screen footage is longer than the background footage, so we just need to pull that out and extend it to the length of that. Okay. Go ahead and get rid of the green screen. And to do that, you're going to go into your effects panel, and if you're not sure where your effects panel is, then you can go to Window and press Effects, and your effects will come up. So the effect that you want to put onto your green screen footage is called Ultra Key, and it's under Video Effects, and under that it's in the folder called Keying. And remember, keying also means getting rid of green screen, so there's going to be some other options under there, but you just want Ultra Key. You can type it in on the search and it'll bring it right to you. Then you're going to drag that effect and drop it right on top of your green screen footage. This little FX box will be lit up in purple instead of the gray color that it was before, and that's how you know if you've added an effect on it. Right away nothing happens, and you're probably like, why didn't anything work? And what we need to do first is we need to tell it that we want to get rid of only the green color, not the color of our skin or the color of the person, only this green. So what we need to do is we need to go into the effect controls. So make sure you have your video pressed for green screen. Go up to effect controls and go down to where it says Ultra Key, and you're going to go ahead and press key color, grab the eyedropper, and select the background. So there you go. Now you can see it actually did something to your backgrounds. It did change stuff, but there's still some work that needs to be done with all of this. So in order to see this better, because it is kind of hard to see what's going on, you want to change your output to alpha channel. So right now it's on composite, but when you change it to alpha channel, it turns your video black and white. It almost looks like a negative in a way. But that is exactly what we want, because this will show us what is staying and what is leaving. So anything that is white is going to stay, and anything that is dark or black is going to leave. And you ideally want to have your whole background black except for whatever your subject is. So now we need to go into the settings. But before we do that, you don't really want to waste your time in the settings if you have all of this extra stuff around your subject. So for example, like her arm or her knee, we really don't want that part of this in our project. So to get rid of it, you're going to go up to opacity, and you're just going to press, you can do either the pen tool and actually draw around the area that you want to keep. And you want to make sure you're doing this at the beginning of your videos. You don't want to have it be in the middle, because then what you're tracing around is going to be different from what's happening in the front. So in the beginning. So leave it at the beginning, and that's where you're going to start, and that's how you can draw this out. So there we go. So now that we've drawn our mask in opacity, we can see that we're only going to be changing this area here, not the whole screen. So then we can go back down to Ultra Key, and we can go under Matte Generation and press the little arrow next to Matte Generation. In Matte Generation, the first thing I change is Pedestal. Pedestal is the first one because it usually cleans it up pretty nicely. So we'll go ahead and bring Pedestal all the way up to 100. And just like I said, you can see that it cleaned up the background pretty well. It got rid of those gray patches and areas. And it's okay if it has the shadows underneath, because that makes it look more realistic, but we definitely don't want this side of the paper in there. So let's see if we can kind of fix that by messing with these other settings. And I want to get rid of the stuff, but definitely not their hands. If anything starts messing with their hands, definitely want to get rid of that. Okay, so right now it's looking like that's as good as it's going to get as far as those shadows and things go. So let's go ahead and change it back to composite so we can actually see the video. And right off the bat, the other thing we need to change is where these hands are located. So to do that, the first thing you want to do is lock your background panel, background track, and double click your hands. Then you should have that blue box that comes around, and that is how you can change how big, how small, and the position of your video. So that looks better, and we don't have to worry about her arm piece in the way because we've already made it big. So let's go ahead and play and see what it looks like. Okay, you maybe want to scoot it over just so we can see her hand a little better. So right now, before we do anything else, everything looks good except for there's like a little glow, like a green glow that goes around the hand. And to get rid of that, you want to go back to your Ultra Key, and you want to go under Matte Cleanup, press the little arrow. In that window, you'll see an option called Choke. The choke basically kind of cuts out the outline of your hands and gets rid of it. So if I bring up the choke, you'll see it got rid of quite a bit of stuff. And you don't want it to go all the way to 100% because you don't want it to lose everything. We just want to have it high enough so that it cuts out the weird glow. And that's better around the fingers there. So that's much better. Okay. And sometimes you can also bring up the contrast so that the hand is still there. Okay. All right, and then these other two options, I mean, I hardly ever change anything in there. And the reason for that is because it messes with the color of it. And I don't really want the color to change. So I usually leave these alone. But if you're finding that you still aren't having it and you're still not happy and you want to change these options, you can. But I'm going to leave it like that for now. Okay, so we've did everything we could in the Ultra Key to get rid of some of this stuff, but ultimately we need to take a different route. And the next step would be to go back to opacity, and you're going to press the mask that you made at the beginning, and we're just going to kind of tweak this a bit. Now remember, you want to go all the way back to the beginning if you have a mask, and right now the mask looks fine. We really don't need to get rid of anything until this part of the hand comes in. So we don't want to change the mask completely, we just want to change parts of it. And to change parts of it, you want to go to Mask Path, and you want to press this timer. And that timer basically says, over time, this mask is going to change its shape. And that's what we want. Now that the mask has been activated, the mask path, it put a little keyframe on there for us, this little diamond. And that means each keyframe, the mask is going to change. So let's press the mask name again to have it show up. We're going to jump a few keyframes, and we need to change the mask a little bit. And I'm going to zoom out, zoom out so I can see this part. Go. We'll skip ahead a few frames. Now you don't have to make a keyframe for every single frame. That is just going to take way too long, and it's not going to be worth your time. So just jump a few keyframes. I usually go 3 to 4 keyframes ahead, and then I'll move the mask. So that way it matches what I need it to be. Also, if you want to select 2 keyframes at once, you can press one of them, hold down Shift, and press the second one, and then you can move them simultaneously or at the same time. Alrighty, so there we go. So now if I press play, let's see how it looks. Alrighty. Ooh, okay, so it doesn't look bad. The only thing that I would need to go back on is right here. This piece needs to come up a little more, because that blue tape got in the way. Okay, alrighty, so there we go. So we put it all together, and there's our clip. Green screen footage put in there. Okay. Alrighty, so if you have any other questions, if you're not sure, how you're gonna work around something, or you're not sure how I did something, please let me know and I'll come over and help you. Otherwise, just watch this video, go back if you need to, if you missed something. But if you're still stumped, then go ahead and just ask me and I can help you out.